So the study of heredity, which is going to be the study of passing on your genes. Okay, so for one word, it's going to give you, it's kind of like one definition gives us the next word. So if you learn by color, highlighting the words as you go will help you. One of the worst things is when you take notes and it's like all you see is a bunch of words that are blended together. So break it up by highlighting the words as you go, and that will help. Yeah, there are a lot of them are over there.
It's already about to be 12:20.
Do what?
I said it's already about to be 12:20.
Flying. Okay, so heredity is like football. In that picture, here you are, a sexual male, and you're holding this football. And this football is really all your DNA from one sperm is in that football. And you throw the football, and whoever catches that just receives your genes. Okay, and then there's a girl over here, and she happens to throw her football, which is like all the genes that are in an egg, and that person receives that. And then you've got this collection of genes. That's what heredity is like. So when we think of sperm meeting egg and making a baby, you're passing your genes on. So heredity is the passage of genes from parent to offspring or parents. So I'm going to write it like this to offspring. Why wouldn't I write it to like an S only? Right. So there would just be one football passed if it's going to be asexual, but there's two if it's sexual. So who's going to have more genetic variation?
The two parents.
The two parents. The kid who was made with two footballs, who received two combinations now in themselves. So I know it's kind of a corny way to think about it, but the next word that people get those two confused. So if this is passing them on, then inheritance, if you inherit something, what does that mean?
You receive it.
Yeah, so you're the one catching the football. You're getting it. Stop. I won't write. Inheritance. Okay, so this is receiving your genes from we'll put the parent or parents. Okay, so you just caught them, you got them, and now, so inherit, you get it, heredity, you pass it. So genes keeps popping up. So what is a gene?
Characteristic.
It determines a characteristic. What is the gene itself? Y'all mapped them right here. Okay, so it's part of heredity, right? Okay. So what were these found on? Chromosome. Okay, so, and when y'all did your bookmark, that little strip represented gene, right? So it was transcribed and then into RNA, and then you got a protein. So we've done a lot with genes in different ways, but it all kind of comes together now. So a gene is a section of DNA, actually of nucleotides. So A, T, C, G, T, A, and so forth, that are a recipe, or you could say blueprint, however you think of it, for a trait. Okay, so that's going to be our next word. A trait is a protein. So protein synthesis is basically the expression of those genes. Then you look in the mirror, and there you go. You got some proteins staring back at you. So first period, I looked at Annette and I said, "Okay, Annette, with your blue hair color, is that written in your genes?" Mm-mm. So she can't pass the blue hair onto her kids. Right. Exactly. But that's the word acquired. If you acquire it while you're living, you can't pass that on to your kids. There was a guy in the next unit that will talk about who he thought, well, anything you do while you're alive, you can just pass it on to your kids. So if you got really buff and you're like lifting weights, then you would have like a little muscle baby, like a little Popeye baby. But that's not true. You can only pass on what's written in your genes unless we alter the genes to the point in the sperm or egg. So what if there's a mutation in your sperm or a mutation in your egg?
And you pass that on.
You could pass those on, right? But if it happens out here to our body, it won't make a difference. Okay, so the trait is an inherited characteristic. Not one that you acquired while you have been alive. So we're going to look in this little lab activity pretty soon is we're going to look at all these different traits that you inherited in your DNA. And some of them are kind of, that you might not ever think that you actually inherited. One of them being how you taste your food. Have you ever wondered why you may love something and someone else in your family is like, I can't believe you can eat that. That's disgusting.
You don't tend to do that to me.
Yeah, my mama loves spaghetti.
See, I love chicken on fried nuts. You don't tend to like fried chicken. I can't stand fried chicken.
Yeah, my brother Derek eats broccoli better than.
Well, one thing that you're going to test today is, or taste test, is the chemical is actually in broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. And people who can tolerate those foods, they can't taste this chemical. But people who don't like it
Wait, really?
can taste the paper. Yeah, it's totally safe. It's in your food.
I'm not tasting it.
Oh,
I like broccoli.
but it's kind of interesting.
I have a question.
All right, hold on one second. So go down to
I only eat my broccoli with cheese on it and season off. No.
okay. So I need to draw a picture. It kind of goes along with that, and this goes to the next 3 words, and then we're going to take our break so we can do this activity. Okay, so y'all remember how many pairs of chromosomes do you have? 23 pairs.
I always say from who?
All right, so let's say this is chromosome number 1. I'm totally making up this gene, but I don't know if it's located on 1 or not, but yes, sir.
So if you got 22 pairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that like from the sperm and the egg is only one chromosome and then they go together and it makes the pair?
So it's like this. You only get a chromosome. You don't get the X chromosome. Like that look like that. That's actually, and you know what? I probably should.
Is that when it comes together?
That's when the DNA replicates and you got the sister. Technically.
That's why you call it sisters? Because it's 2?
Mm-hmm. So technically, they only look like this. You remember when you were drawing your chromosomes? There were only one of them?
Yeah.
That's why. Because technically, it's just like this. So,
Technical is like that.
and they look like this, and then it's like, ooh, DNA doubles, and now you get 2 of these. So that way they can separate. And that's how you get the 92. So see, you have a pair of these, then you have a pair of 2s, a pair of 3s, a pair of 4s, because you got 1 from each parent. So then when DNA doubled, they got a double. That was our 92.
Okay.
That makes sense? Kind of, not really.
So like, that's the same question I just asked.
Okay, well, it's really, so technically it looks like this. Do you remember in the sperm and egg, you only got half the DNA, right?
Right.
Okay, so when in meiosis, remember the second division, the chromosomes pulled apart, and they all look like this. Well, not like that, like this. Like this, right? Technically, that's really what they look like.
Is that what we're?
They're only one part. Then when DNA doubled, you got a sister because each new cell has to have their own copy of it.
And then it splits.
Right. So maybe drawing it like this would be better. So let's say this one's from mom and this was from dad. Now, if you only had one parent, you'd get two of them from one parent. But from them, so let's say this is eye color gene. Let's say that mom gives the offspring, when she passed that football, you got the brown eye gene. And then dad and his, there was a blue eye gene. Color genes, but you got different versions. Okay, so the big B would be brown. And that's why these letters are representing genes. The little b is a blue. And that's the only thing, they're just symbolic of this stuff. So these different versions of eye color are actually called alleles. And that's why they were using yellow and green. And they use the word alleles.
So I have a question.
Okay.
So if a brown-eyed mom and a green-eyed father or dad came together, then how would they get, like, I've heard that they can get a green-eyed child. How does that work?
Because maybe it's like the mom got the brown eyes, but has the blue as the recessive ones.
So how that would happen is, well, I'm afraid to get too far ahead, but hold that thought, because I want us to do this first, because if everybody is with us and they get this part, then the next part is easy. So don't let me forget, because I can show you on a Punnett square. That is the square for my mom and my dad. My dad was brown. My mom is green. They both are carrying a blue because I got blue. I don't have green. I don't have blue. I don't have brown. So I'll show you our cross. And so what we'll find out is you may get a brown, or you might even have a G, which is a green. Brown is dominant over green and blue. Dark colors in nature, as far as humans go, are dominant always. Skin color, hair color, eye color are always going to be dominant over light. So why in the world do we not have like a lot of dark people and a lot of pasty white people? Why do we have all these different blends of color? It doesn't, well, and that's probably the reason eventually. But the difference, what happens is there's not just one, just like with eye color, there's not just one gene that determines that. It's actually several genes that give you all these different colors. So it's a combination of genes that give you eye color. It's not as simple as I'm making it. This would be at one place, but maybe on chromosome number 7, there's eye colors. On chromosome number 9, there's eye color genes. So your eye color is the combination of genes that you get from all of those together. So the same is true for skin color and hair color. That's why you can have some pretty different shades in there. But like, and height is the same way. I mean, there's lots of traits. Those are called polygenic traits. Lots of genes determine one trait. You have a question on your exam about polygenic, but it's not going to be where you have to do like a really hard cross or anything. So, all right. So going back to this, if I say that you got a big B from mom and a little b from dad, what eye color do you think you would actually have? Brown. So that goes into the next 3 words, and then we're going to stop.
Is that because the mom is dominant?
It's because it's dominant. Yep. So there's the word allele. An allele is a form or version of a trait. Okay, so that would be like the eye color is, so like eye color. So the versions, what are the different versions you can have other than brown and blue? All right, blue, green, hazel. There's also a really dark brown eye where you can barely see your pupil. Some of you may have that. That's like when you look in the mirror, you can barely see your pupil. Your eyes are so dark. There's light brown. There's kind of a hazily yellowish looking eye. My nephew has that. It's a hazel, but almost has some yellow flecks in his eyes. There is an ice blue eye that are like husky looking eyes.
Oh, that's what my husky had.
Ice blue. And then there is a gray blue, and there's like a tealish kind of blue. The teal eyes are the ones that when people wear like the shirt that Nigel's wearing, they may say, "Oh, your eyes are changing colors. They look kind of green today." Well, it's all an illusion. Or like if what you're wearing. So if you're wearing greener clothes, they may appear to look more green. My eyes just seem to be kind of gray, a grayish, a bluish gray. They're not the light. And I think all 4 of our kids are that way. I don't think anybody has, I know they don't have that ice blue eye. That's pretty recessive. So let's put dominant and recessive. So if you have a dominant allele or gene, what does that mean? What does it have the ability to do? What does that big B allele have the ability to do? Yeah, and that's what normally I put it's a gene that can hide a recessive, dominates it. Okay, so big B for brown. And we use capital letters for that. So we always use when we start figuring out what letters to use, you always use the letter of the dominant trait. So that's why we're using big B for brown. So we would use little b for blue, which would be the recessive version. So recessive allele or gene is the one that can be hidden by dominant. And that was going to be represented with a lowercase letter. Okay. Like blue. So that's where we're going to stop. And then we're going to do our activity. And then we can come back and do a little bit more. And then enough to where I think y'all will be able to start your baby thing. So it'll be fun. We're not going to do the predict and heredity problems until Monday. I want to do all of that with everybody at the same time. So all classes. All right. So let's see. Once you have that, flip to the second page, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do. We're going to break actually into probably 4 groups, because that'll be your group. Y'all can kind of segregate yourselves however you want to, but it'll be like, I think, in about 4 groups. All right, y'all, does everybody have notes? Tell me when I can flash it. And this goes along with your homework that you're going to have to do. Just interview 2 people. Yes, interview 2 people.
Oh,
It's fun.
Thornhill. Friday.
You sure?
Oh,
What is that word right before trait?
oh, sorry. Uh-oh. Sorry. Oh, sorry, internet stuff. What did you just say? Where was it?
What are no, on that board where it says interview 2 people.
For trait inventory. All right. So,
I'll just it out.
so look under here where it says trait.
Ready to go.
What's new?
You wrote?
All right. So, how this works is the number of fingers is the trait. Like eye color is the trait. Number of fingers you have is the trait. Possible alleles, like brown and blue and green, you can either have 6 fingers or you can have 5 fingers. Now the D and R, what do you think the D and R is?
Dominant and recessive.
Okay, so what you're going to do, because this is dominant, we're going to use the capital S to represent 6. Okay? So put a capital S, make sure it's a big S for 6. If you have 5 fingers, it's going to be a little s, right? We're using F because 5 isn't dominant. 6 is dominant. We're going to use 6, the S, as our lowercase version. Okay, so you can I do a cursive S because the little and the big look too much alike to me. So this is what you're going to put for yourself. So if you didn't have a 6 finger when you were born, either as a little knot here or over here on your thumb, if it grew out, then you're going to put 5. So you're going to put little s.
So you just put little s?
It is dominant to have 6 fingers.
So
A lot of people have 6
Because it doesn't help your survival rate. It helps. It just gets in the way.
Wait,
So
so
you
you
cut it
don't,
off? So you just cut it off on your baseball.
You can have it removed.
you don't have to though.
So you just put a little s?
Just put little s.
The baby.
So little s means 5. Okay. I'll just get rid of this. That's kind of confusing. Okay, when you're in your group, so everybody put this down for yourself. Everybody has what you have? Little s or big S is what you should put. Does anybody have 6 fingers?
Nope.
Usually every semester I have at least one person that has a 6 finger. Or had it removed.
I got 6 toes.
That's a separate trait. Oh yeah. It's called polydactyly. It means to have more than 5 digits.
I
So
don't have but one.
all right, so when you're in your group, you're going to count it up. Okay, so you'll say how many people have 6 fingers. If they don't, you just put 0. If how many folks have 5 fingers, you put how many people have 5. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so go down to earlobe shape. This is the next one. So detached is when you have a lobe that kind of hangs, and it doesn't have to be a big lobe, but it's not attached to your face. I have attached. So if your earlobe just kind of goes straight into your face, you don't have like a dangly lobe, then that is attached. So detached is dominant, so that's big D, little d for attached.
So detached would be.
I would put a little d because I have it right. A hanging one would be detached. Okay. And then keep going from there. Big B is brown, little b is widow's peak, big W, little peak, little w for that. So it's just always, you're going to follow the same rules.
Travis now, he talks like that, my boy.
Okay? Does everybody understand why we're writing those letters down?
No. Wait, no, I'm just kidding.
You're always going to write the letter of the dominant trait and the lowercase version for the recessive.
Why for?
And you can use the same letters. It doesn't matter. Okay? There's no rule to that.
I use your letters.
So you're going to use color, big C. Albino is little c. See what I'm saying? The trait determines the letter. All right, so y'all tell me what you're going to use for if dwarf is dominant over normal height. Big D, what's normal height?
Little d.
So everybody in this room is going to put a little d right here because nobody's a dwarf. All right, bushy, not bushy. Bushy's dominant.
What do you mean bushy?
Bushy eyebrows.
bushy.
Bushy eyebrows. Sorry, I didn't go back and say eyebrows. Bushy eyebrows. All right. What are you going to use for bushy eyebrows?
I don't know.
Big D and little D for instance, that's
No.
because that confused me.
Big B. Not bushy, thin eyebrows. Little B. Round face, big R, square face, little r. It doesn't mean like you have a block face. It just means that you have a jawline that comes down. I think mine is considered square. If your jawline kind of comes down like this, it's more square, round, versus round. That's where y'all are gonna look at each other and just make a judgment. All right, color vision, big C, color blindness, little c, freckles, no freckles. So you just go through and do that for all of them, okay? When you get to PTC tasting, though, we're gonna do that all together, okay? That's the fun part.
I don't understand this. My oldest sister and my youngest little sister, they both have freckles. But none of the rest of us did. But my dad don't have it. My mom don't have it. My mom, well, my aunt.
What chin?
But my
Yeah.
youngest sister's not on that.
Are they freckles like what I like on the face that are flat, or are they more like the little moles?
They're flat on their face. I don't understand why they have this. I think my older sister got it, my aunt got it, but my younger sister's not.
I know.
My aunt.
Huh. That is weird. All right, so this is what you're gonna do. You're filling out your column and your group's column. You're gonna tally them all up, okay?
What's a clip on either one?
Cleft chin is a dimple in your chin,
It's like what they call a butt chin.
right?
Let's say butt cheek.
Can you stop?
Yeah, I know that. What?
All right, when you get to a trait you're not sure, let me know.
Those are little fingers.
Straight.
How would you know that?
You just hold it up. All right, y'all get into a group of probably 4 people or so. All right, we need, so y'all split up 4 groups, get to it. Y'all pick your own group, yep.
So it's the 4th person.